Hi guys, how are you? Um, Welcome to my second session of German verb conjugation. Basically, in my previous session, I explained you how do we do the verb conjugation, regular verb conjugation. And in this video, we are gonna see how the verb conjugation for the irregular verbs are done. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys. Okay. So some basic, revision. So I mentioned in my last video that the verb conjugation, we will do it in four types. So the first type of the verb conjugation was regular verb conjugation, that is, basic your day-to-day verbs basically. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you how the irregular verbs are conjugated. Okay, so the second type of verb is called as vocal vexel. Now, vocal means vowel and vexel means exchange. Okay, so what will happen is that in the middle of the verb, vowel will get exchanged, and which vowel is going to get exchanged? Either I or E. So either I or E. So this IE will change to I, or vice versa. So let's have a look at vocal vexel. So vocal vexel means vowel exchange. There are only certain verbs which fall under this category. So obviously in any language there will be verbs in thousands, lakhs, maybe more than that. Okay. So in vocal vexel, if you're doing your A1 level, specifically A1 or A2 level, just remember that there are just limited verbs falling under this category, and you have to remember these verbs, and these are the basic verbs which you use it in your day-to-day conversation, like eating, speaking, taking. I have just mentioned here. So what happens is the ending remains the same. Now when I say ending remains the same, means ish e ending, do st ending, st ending, that remains the same. However, vowel exchanges, and the changes are only in do, er, sie, es form. So second and third person singular, only there the changes are done. They are also called, so these verbs are also called as irregular verb, or I think very few people will know vocal vexel, this term. Generally the regular terminology which we use in day to day teaching is irregular verb. So let's see how this happens. Now, as I mentioned that there are limited verbs, so just remember that there are around 6 to 7 verbs which fall under this category. And then you have to, obviously you remember the meaning of the verb, remember these verbs, and have to remember that only in second and third person, that is do and ers form, the vowel gets exchanged. This verb type is confusing. It's extremely confusing. My strong suggestion to all the students is just remember it by heart. It That's the best thing. Even if you go and ask any native German speaker that, how do you do it, how do you remember it, for them also it will be like it's our mother tongue, and this is how we are taught, since childhood. So I don't think anybody would be able to give you any logic for this irregular, and this irregular verb conjugation, it's in all the languages basically, which you have to remember. So let's take first example, that is essen. Essen means to eat. So if you see, it says that the ending remains the same, but the vowel exchanges, and where the exchange is happening in do and rs form only. Otherwise जो बाकी है वो first जो type है regular verb उसके जैसे ही रहता है. Only this, the highlighted ones, in the highlighted in black red is what the changes is. Okay. So essen, so ish, essa. So obviously you did delete this en part. So basically what you do, you will delete you will delete this en and just add a e over here. Okay. Now do. So generally do के साथ st ending लगता है, but then here what happens, this e got changed with I, and the ending is the same, st. Okay. I'm just gonna maybe change to highlighter. This is better. And then RGS, again RGS, the ending is what? The ending is generally uh, T. Okay, the ending is generally T. What happens here also, E changes to I. Now, again and again, I'm telling you that why does it happen? This is the nature of the language, basically. This is how it is. So you have to buy hard. There's no other scope, basically. And then if you see wir, Essen, it will be same. Why it will be same? As I mentioned, the change is only in do and lgs, do and lgs. Rest remains same like your first type. So ear, it's always t ending, so t ending, and even this vowel is not getting exchanged. And zz will be sn. We'll do similar verb here. Similar verb, lesen. Lesen means to read. So ish, laser. What happens is that you place the ending e over here. So I'm just highlighting it in yellow. Now do changes to st. So this ending, guys, this ending remains the same st, but what happens? This e, okay, this e is changed. This vowel is replaced by ie, least. Okay. Similar way, RZS also the ending. Now this, the spelling is same. If you see do and RZS, the spelling is same. This is T, and then it changes the vowel, the middle vowel. जो बीच का vowel है वो E से change हो जाएगा IE. How do you remember, guys? You have to remember it. There's no logic. And then wear, lazen, ear, laced. So if you see ear, T ending, the way we do, and here the vowel is not getting exchanged. Okay, so the vowel is not going to get exchanged. Why? Because the change only happens in these two forms, only in these two forms. And ZZ lazen. Yeah. Um, we'll go to the next one. Sehen and sprechen. So sehen means to see. Sehen means to see. Let me just write it. Sorry, just some technical difficulties. Yeah. So sehen, trying to write with this, to see. So in English, the meaning is to see. Okay. And sprechen means to speak. Sprechen means to speak. Not very great, but yeah. Okay. So if you see Sehen, ish sehe. So basically what happens that E, you delete this en and you add an e. Now do and is slightly different. That is, as I mentioned, that this e will be changed by ie. The vowel is going to get exchanged, and the ending remains the same, st. And then again here in RZS, the T, the ending is the same, but what is getting exchanged? Vowel. Rest, wear, ear, ZZ remains the same. You have to connect back to your basics, that is your first type of verb conjugation. Okay. And then you see sprechen. So a lot of people pronounce it as sprechen or sprechen, both is fine. Ish pressure. So basically what happens, you delete the en from the original verb and you add e over here, and then you have do sprecht. So what is happening, e changes to I, and the ending is the same. And then you have RZS. So again e changes to I, and then you have your t ending. Wir sprechen, ihr sprecht, and sie sprechen. Again, I would like to tell that here the vowel is not getting exchanged because it's not needed. The ending will be the same. So we learned four verbs here: essen, and then lesen, sehen, and sprechen. The next one will be helfen and nehmen. Helfen and nehmen. So helfen means to help. Helfen means to um, help. Nehmen means to take. Nehmen means take. Like I take class, I take a bag, etc. So here also helfen, this is the original verb, but when you're conjugating with ish, you just need e. You just need e. So basically you delete this en part. Now do, what happens? This e changes to I. but the ending st remains the same. And then rzs, e changes to I, and this ending t remains the same. Again, wir, ihr, sie, sie, back to basics. That is the first type of conjugation, the way you do. No vowel is getting exchanged. Okay, it's just similar. So here, if you see it's not changing to I the way it is in do and RCS. This change happens only in do and RCS. The next verb is totally different. Now the next verb is totally different. What happens is this H goes off. So that's why I keep telling my students that only these 7 verbs, it's better you just learn it. And then as you move forward, B1 and B2 level, you will get knack of, identifying the verbs and do the conjugations. It's just initially it's bit difficult to maybe categorize the verbs and all, but as you go further in the language levels, etc., you do it, it's all fine. And then you have ish nehema, that is e ending. Then do nimmst, st ending. What happens is e changes to I. Okay, rzs is t, e changes to I. We are nehmen, you are named, your nothing changes. Okay, so basically this for nothing changes, the change is only in your do and lz. Okay, and then we'll do the last one, that is treffen means to meet. Okay, now treffen means to meet. This is my MENT, a bit funny, yeah. So ich treffe, again the original verb, so you need to take this off and then you add e. Yeah, so sorry, I just want to delete it, and then sorry, yeah, and add an e. Quickly going to charge my laptop before the session ends. Okay, I'm all set. Yes. So basically do thrifts. So what happens is this ending remains the same, but e changes to I, and then you have thrift, ending remains the same, but e changes to I. Again, wir treffen, ihr trefft, sie treffen. This I will be small, it's a typo here, so please ignore this. Just remember that ihr, that is you all, the I is always small, okay? And again, here, as I mentioned, that ending is the same, ending is the same, ending is the same, and no changes. You just have to follow the first type of conjugation. So um, we did around like 6 verbs here. So we did essen and lesen, then we did sehen and sprechen, and treffen. So basically 5 verbs. So even if you remember these 5, I think you cover the irregular ones, okay? It may happen, what used to happen is when I teach my students, if you're reading any text and if that particular verb is under this category, I just tell them, okay, this is also one of the verb which falls under this category. But so far, you can just remember these ones, the five of them, these should be fine. I hope you understood this. And as I'm again and again telling, it's always better to just by heart these verbs. Remember, at least, if not by heart, just remember that, okay, these are the verbs where the changes will take place, okay? And then, as I mentioned, we'll go to the third one. Third one is also Vokalwechsel, and here what happens? A changes to A umlaut. A changes to A umlaut. This is not as complicated as this one. It's quite simple, but again, there are only certain verbs which fall under this category. At least A1 and A2 level, you just remember this much. And as I told you, you go higher, you will get an idea. So what happens in third type, A changes to A umlaut in do and RGS form. So again, in do and RGS form. So the first verb here is schlafen. Schlafen means to sleep. Schlafen means to sleep. I'm not gonna type it, because I believe that if you are already, doing this topic with me, your basic verbs, you'll know that. Again, I'm just telling, schlafen means to sleep, so I've not typed it. So the original verb is schlafen. So what happens is you remove the en and you just add e over here, and then du becomes schläfst. Du becomes schläfst. Because you are adding an umlaut, the pronunciation will change. Not schlafst, but becomes schläfst. And what happens is the ending remains the same, but you need to add an a umlaut. Where are you going to add? Only in these two, that is du and rzs. Again, ending remains the same as per the first type, but it comes with an umlaut, which means schläft. So not schlaft, but schläft. And then wir schlafen, ihr schlaft, and sie schlafen. So if you see this without umlaut, schlaft. This with umlaut is schläft. So there is a pronunciation change when you add an umlaut, okay? And then the next one we'll say see is fahren. Fahren means to drive. So let me just write it. I think that's better. So let me just write it. Fahren, that is to travel or to drive. Has two meanings. So depending on the context, you have to use. So what happens is I'm just gonna conjugate it for you guys. Ich fahre. So basically, I delete this en and I just write e. And then du fährst. But what happens here? I have to change this a to a umlaut, okay? And then you have er, zs, which what happens? F, sorry. But you have to change to umlaut, a umlaut. And then wir fahren, as usual, ihr fahrt, sie fahren, sie fahren. So what happens? The change is only in this du and rzs. Let's take another verb. I hope this is clear. If not, as I mentioned, just ask me. So we took another word, tragen, which we'll do again. Tragen means to wear jeans, okay? So ich trage. Now do के साथ ending is what? st, but here we have to add a umlaut, trägst. So it becomes trägst. And then you have rzs, which becomes trägt. So t ending, but here also a changes to a umlaut. And then you have wir tragen, same like the verb, right? And then you have ihr tragt. So here there won't be any umlaut because it's not needed. The change is only as mentioned in the and rzs form. Apologies for this. You have z and then z. Tragen. Yeah. So basically, there are just limited verbs which fall under this category, and Additionally, these are the also verbs which will be conjugated exactly like this means the change will only be in do and SGS form. So traumen, tragen, lachen, laufen, backen. Okay, so traumen, tragen, lachen, laufen, and backen. Let me see if I have, yep, and also schlafen. I think, yeah, I already covered that. So that's it for today. So I covered second and the third part, that is vocal excel verbs, but in two forms. All you need to do is a lot of practice. The verb conjugation comes with a lot of practice. Um, it's very important that you practice so much that your subconscious mind, when you're speaking with someone, you don't have to calculate or think so much. You just spontaneously you just speak. So this comes only when you practice many verbs, and at one point of time you yourself will get to know that okay, I'm done and I'm able to conjugate. When I'm speaking with someone, I'm just directly conjugating. I'm not thinking, not calculating anything, and you will definitely get it. Yeah. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the last part, that is the te and ending verbs, and then once that is done, we might just do some revision. I'll just give you some verbs for practice. You can check that out. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Cheers.